Hello everyone, VVizard here once again, and today I'm bringing you all my latest character, my first of 2022. This character in particular is once again a collab, this time with the amazing creator TheSmashWaffle. So without further ado, let's check it out. Magolor, the stellar deceptor, joins the Rivals of Aether workshop. As previously mentioned, Magolor was a collab between myself and TheSmashWaffle. Unlike previous collabs, Waffle not only worked on all of Magolor's animations and sprites, but also handled a lot of the coding too, while I handled coding of the more complex elements, as well as fixing bugs and more complicated details. However, we were both responsible for crafting Magolor's moveset design. Now why Magolor specifically? Well, Kirby is one of my favorite gaming series, so I always wanted a Kirby character in Workshop, especially considering how the last time we got a Kirby newcomer in Smash was in Brawl, over 10 years ago. So with that, I suggested Waffle, a fellow Kirby fan, if he would be down to work on a new Kirby character, and we both settled on Magolor. After all, besides representing the series' amazing final bosses, this character would also represent Kirby's Return to Dreamland, a shared favorite between us. And with that, I give the stage to Waffle.
Hey there, I'm TheSmashWaffle, and I'm more than happy to have the honor of working on one of my favorite characters from Kirby. But who is Magolor, you might ask? Well, Magolor was first introduced to Sport and Roll to Kirby, in turn for his offer to help reconstruct his ship, the Lord Starcutter. However, little did Kirby and friends know that Magolor had much more sinister intentions deep down. After coming with Magolor to his home planet Halcandria and defeating the almighty Landia, the friendly face comes down to congratulate the gang, but only to cut their celebration short by snatching Landia's crown. From there, he revealed what he'd truly been scheming all along, so he used the Master Crown to rule the universe with limitless power at his fingertips. But, as any old creative Kirby goes, Magolor is ultimately defeated after putting up a good fight within 2 tough boss battles. Later on, he is supposedly reformed, and learns from his mistakes. But that's not to say he still isn't a force to be reckoned with, as demonstrated by his playable appearances in Kirby Star Allies, and Kirby Fighters 2 by extension. In Rivals of Aether, Magolor's character is depicted in a few ways. For starters, many of his attacks take from various actions he does during both his boss fights and his playable appearances, with quite a few creative liberties taken to make them work nicely with his playstyle. Speaking of which, Magolor can easily be described as a zoner, more specifically a trapper. He relies on very long-range attacks and setup tools to keep foes on their toes, reflecting how he oftentimes first lurk behind it while his magic does the work. Magolor's normals are a fairly mixed bag when it comes to what situations they're useful in, but they're easy to get the hang of once you know what you're doing. Magolor's jab, down tilt, up tilt, dare, and more often than not dare, can each work reliably well as combo starters, while attacks like dash attack, nair, and fair can easily start carrying a combo out. The real combo finishers lie within forward tilt, which features a sweet spot at the tip of the spike, and up air, which can work as a good juggle while bearing more than satisfactory kill potential in certain areas and percentages. Onto the strong attacks. Forward strong can cover vast distance and even kill early if used in the right place and at the right time. But be careful, as missing it or using it at a bad time can leave you vulnerable. Down strong, not as wide at range as forward strong, it still has a considerable amount of kill power. And if it doesn't land, there's a chance that the shockwaves can be handy for chipping full extra damage. Lastly, up strong covers a good range above Magolor, and the starting hitbox on him can easily combo into the monster flame above, which under the right circumstances, could put your opponent in a hot situation. Kill me. Now, for what we've all probably been waiting for, the specials. Let's start us off with the neutral special, being Magic Charge. Functioning nearly identically to his Star Allies counterpart, Magolor proceeds to charge up magic energy by holding down the special button, letting go of the button early to throw out a magic sphere, which will deal puny damage and knockback, but it can be moved up and down with the joystick. However, the longer Magolor charges, the stronger his projectiles will become. With one charge, Magolor will instead conjure a Revolution Orb, which can't be controlled like the sphere, but has much more noticeable damage output and knockback, and can even hit at high enough percents. With 2 charges being the maximum, Magolor unleashes a powerful Revolution Flame, blasting anyone in the way with better potential to kill. Magolor's charge can be kept by shield cancelling out of the move, but being hit while charging or being parried will deplete any charge that he has stored, so use it wisely. Taking a page out of Meta Knight's book, forward special is Magolor Surge. He charges forth in a corkscrew-like span while enveloping himself in wind energy, similar to what he does to catch up to Kirby Horse in Kirby's Dream Collection. But like in Star Allies, anyone unlucky enough to be in the way will be carried over with him, guaranteed to be launched to the end of his path of destruction. If nobody is hit by the move, however, Magolor will go into freefall, but if Magolor hits a wall, he may recover freely. Nevertheless, the move can only be used once in the air, and will have a brief cooldown even after landing. Since things begin to get pretty complicated from here, I think I'll hand it back to VVizard to explain some more interesting elements of his kit.
Obrigado, Waffle. Bem.
Thank you, Waffle. Next is Magolor's down special. It's the Gem Apple Bomb. This little move references Magolor's appearance in Team Kirby Clash, where in the shop, Magolor sells goods in exchange for the game's main currency, Gem Apples. Later in Magolor's playable promotion in Star Allies and Kirby Fighters 2, the Gem Apples became one of his attacks, where he could throw them as an explosive, and it works the same here. When using down special, Magolor takes one of these Gem Apples and chucks it forward. You can angle this throw by holding the analog stick in different directions. Once the Gem Apple is idle, it'll start to gain more power, bit by bit, becoming bigger and stronger. Then, if you press down special again, Magolor will trigger the Gem Apple to explode, and laughs at the result. The more power the Gem Apple has, the stronger and bigger the explosion will be. Aside from that, the Gem Apple also has a couple of other characteristics. Both you and your opponent can hit it around with your moves, thus launching it in the corresponding direction, which also lets it deal damage and knockback. Also keep in mind, if you take too long to trigger the explosion, the Gem Apple will blow up on its own. Additionally, you know this little laugh Magolor does? If you hit someone with the explosion, you can cancel the animation. Now last but certainly not least, for up special is Magolor's main gimmick, the dimensional portals. This move is a bit more complex, so bear with me now. Once you use up special, Magolor will spawn 2 portals, so that he can travel between them. That's the basic gist of it, but there's a bit more nuance to it. Once you input the up special command, a little arrow will appear close to Magolor, signifying that you can aim the portal around, allowing you to create it in 8 different possible directions. That's not all. Once the first portal is created, a second one in relation to it will begin to spawn. You can notice it also has an arrow close to it, indicating that you can change the direction of this second portal as well. This is how the creation of portals works. After you direct and spawn the portals, Magolor will automatically go through them, unless you hold the shield or parry button, which allows Magolor to create the portals and stand still, allowing the portal to sit there and affect other stuff, like projectiles and other players. That's where the fun begins. Both Magolor and the opponent can go through the portals. Doing so puts the portal in cooldown and teleports the player to the other portal. This sends the player in the other portal's direction at a proportional speed to how they entered the first. This allows you to both perform some big brain combos and kills by sending your opponents through these portals, and save yourself from grim-looking situations with the smart use of the portals. Now for projectiles. Magolor's projectiles all work in tandem with the portals as well, changing directions accordingly, which includes Magolor's neutral special orbs, his back air, down strong shockwave, and even his up strong. The gem apples also have a unique quirk with the portal. They're also affected by it, but each time it teleports, its power will increase more rapidly. Finally, Magolor's forward special also changes directions when going through the portals. This even changes its launch angle, so please keep that in mind. The portals last for quite a while on their own, however the more they're used, the faster they are despawned. All of these special properties of Magolor and the portals are also present when interacting with other Magolor's portals. And speaking of, certain projectiles from other characters can also go through these portals, and even change their direction as well, so try to experiment with different projectiles to see how they work. To finish talking about Magolor, I once again give the stage to Waffle.
Thank you, VVizard. With that out of the way, I suppose that leaves me to talk about some extra details. As you may have seen in this trailer, his final smash, Soul Laser, transforms Magolor into his final form using the Master Crown, before firing a powerful beam of energy before himself. With certain ults, he'll actually transform into Magolor's Soul, the final boss will return to Dreamland's Extra mode. Speaking of which, there's an ult based on this form that visually adjusts some of his moves more closely to resemble certain attacks in that boss fight. With the subject of ults relevant, most of them reference something or another, whether it be characters in the same series, characters with similar traits to them, or just something funny or stylish. On another note, both of his entrances and respawn animations feature the Lore Star Cutter, which flies away once Magolor is all set to go. However, the ship is absent on one stage, and one stage only. And that stage is Magolor's home stage, the Lore Star Cutter itself, which is featured as a sort of hub area in Return to Dreamland. Kirby can talk to Magolor, play sub-games and challenge stages, and try out all sorts of copy abilities. It's also where Magolor tends to use his computer. There's no time for such a thing when he has a fight to win. In the Aether form of the stage, 2 walls and corridors are positioned either side of the stage, making more zany matchups, making the stage much more closely resembling to its source material. Once again, I borrowed Huponia's music selection template so it can be much easier to select whichever tune you want to duke it out to. So with the C-Stick, you can listen to each of the tracks listed. Make sure to keep these in mind. And I suppose that just about does it. Like always, it's been a fun ride. But it's been a more fun learning experience to work on a character with someone else, much more accessible than before, might I add. While I've expressed more than my fair share of love for other franchises like Undertale, Crash Bandicoot, and Pokemon in the past, Kirby isn't something I've gotten to show as much care for before, and I'm glad that I finally could through this faithful collaboration. While I was introduced to the series through Kirby Air Ride and Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Return to Dreamland was the first core series game that I got to play much of, and I'll never forget the fun times I had with it and the titles beyond. I'd also like to thank VVizard for reaching out with me and offering to work on the animations for Magolor. I told you you'd be hearing more from him soon enough. Jesting aside, it's been a pleasure working with them. I couldn't have been happier to get the opportunity to work on another character I've wanted to do for a while. Furthermore, I'd like to give thanks to my good friend Zach for the improvised logo animation, albeit I had a couple of my own touches to it later on. I'll forever appreciate your kindness either way. You might see a little more Kirby content out of me a little later down the line, but that's a story for another day. Without further ado, how about we hand it back over once more.
Thank you, Waffle! And concluding here as well, both Magolor and his stage, The Lore Star Cutter, are available to download as soon as this presentation ends. Like Waffle, I also previously said that Kirby is one of my favorite gaming series. Superstar was literally the first game I've ever played, and many years later, it was with Return to Dreamland that my love for the series was revitalized. Being able to bring a piece of that here in Workshop is something I've always wanted to do, and I'm happy we were able to make that a reality. So with that, I would like to thank anyone who helped with this project and presentation as well. As always, thanks to my great friend VVizard for, yet again, lending me her voice. To Modeling Clay for drawing my brand new logo, which you've seen at the start of the presentation. And to Nitro and Lynn for composing the little jingle that accompanied it. And of course to SmashWaffle. This is my first time working with him, and it was an honor to work with such an incredible creator to bring this character to life. Literally none of this would have been possible without him, so thank you so very much! So I think this is all. However, before I finish here, I would like to say a few things. I think this, 2022, will be my final year in Workshop. I was able to experiment so many new things thanks to Workshop, and made so many amazing friends, which I'll always be grateful for. But I think it's also time to move on to different projects, experience new things, create new things, provide new things. However, no need to worry, I really want to make my Workshop journey in 2022 the best that it can be. My plan for this year is to collab with even more Workshop creators, making even more characters, specifically characters I'm truly passionate about, from series I'm also passionate about. So, the same way I was able to finally make a Kirby character, representing a series I truly love. I want to make the same thing with other series like that, and hopefully I'll be able to do just that. Again, thank you all for watching. Please enjoy Magolor and his stage, and if you want to collab on a character with me, just hit me up. Alright, so I'll see you all next time.